I'm excited to see what we do this weekend.
What's Priggy's status going in here? How is she health wise?
It's still going to be a day-to-day thing. She felt really good today. It's just still tweaking the offensive piece to make it a little bit more comfortable for her. She looked great on defense, but it's just going to be a day-to-day and game time decision.
Okay. All right. Anyone else, from the standpoint of the lineup, do you feel like those folks that we saw maybe last weekend have kind of earned their way to at least to start conference play?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've done really well. The only thing that may fluctuate right now for the first game would be either Priggy or Ventura.
Okay. And I'll finish here. Can you just speak to what Mary did last weekend and just, from your standpoint, what did she do differently? I mean, outside of pitch wonderfully, but were there some mechanical things or whatever from the last time we saw her where she struggled a bit?
Well, I think, what she did this past weekend is incredibly special in the sport. Obviously, for it to be the first 7-inning solo perfect game of our program history, I think it's incredible, and I think it's really, really fitting that it was Mary that got it. I don't think that she's done anything much different mechanically. I don't feel like she's been that off. She had a day where it wasn't your typical Mary, but that's going to happen in this game. And I think the best thing that she's done is just stay really level with it. I think that's, she's seasoned. She's been there before. She's had some ups, she's had some downs, and so she knows how to get back on track. But it was a very small hiccup in what she's done, and so it's really special to see this past weekend. Because you don't see many 7-inning. So I'll say that you don't see many 7-inning. And she was spinning the ball so well that she also got a couple mishits that I thought our defense played really, really well. So obviously with 14 strikeouts, we only need to make 7 outs. And I would say 3 or 4 of those were kind of tricky. And I thought that they handled it really well. And then I know she's probably gotten the questions. She's sitting right here. I know that she's probably gotten the questions. I know I did. She's like, were you worried when she went to 3 balls with, a couple of the batters in the 7th? And I quite honestly am never worried when Mary gets to 3 balls. So I know that I wasn't. I really wanted her to get it. I really wanted her to get it. So I will say that, but I'm never worried when she's at 3 balls. So it didn't really worry me so much. But it was really fun. As a coach, I think you're always wondering if everybody knows it's happening. And obviously you don't talk about it. But it was really fun that each out, more of the players and support staff started creeping towards the opening. And so you feel their excitement, and they knew what was on the line, and just getting to celebrate Mary in that moment was really, really cool.
I'll let somebody else go. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. I'll just piggyback off kind of what Paul was saying about Mary. How has her week been, coming off that performance, and, you're preparing for Tennessee coming up? Just how's the team as a whole they've been in practice this week?
They've been great. I think that we're ready to start SEC. And I think that we're ready for different reasons than we felt ready in the past. I think that we feel ready because I don't think that we've had a long stretch where we felt like we fired on all cylinders, and we still are finding a way to be successful and fight together. And so I think that through that, I think we've come out the other side, and I think everyone's playing really well. I think they have a ton of confidence. And I think that there's a level of confidence that comes from working together when you don't have your best stuff and finding a way to get the job done. And so I feel like that's where we are as a team. And so I feel like we've been tested. We've been tested by opponents. We've tested ourselves. And I think that we're ready to see where we're at in SEC play.
And just how the bats, you're talking about Gamble, how she's coming, Gibby, and then you add Ellsworth, just how that solid foundation, that core just really makes everybody. Lenny's had a really good outing ever since she come back from Mexico. So just that balance that we've talked about, you've had since you've been here, it seems to be getting better and better with that balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely completely agree. The amount of pressure that our offense, that core, but really the entire offense, because I think that Callie Kildow's done a great job in the 8-hole as well of just making things happen and getting on base. And so the amount of pressure that our offense can put on another team is unlike anything we've really had. I think it's grown each year, but it's a lot. You feel them. Like you have KB, and if you get her out, okay, great. Now you have Hannah McEwen. Okay. And then you have Taylor Ellsworth. Now you have, and it just keeps going. And I just think that they find a way to fuel each other. But I think when you're on the other side of that, you just feel like there's no breath. You have to dig in, and you have to be perfect.
So what would be the biggest thing that you're looking for as a team, coming into your first SEC series with Tennessee, like coming out of the series? What would be one thing that you're really wanting to come out of it, other than a win, of course?
Well, a win. Yeah. Well, not just one. I'm looking for multiple. So if that's it, that's the end of the question, the end of the answer. I honestly can't wait to watch us compete. So I just am really looking forward to watching us compete. And I want to see us throw punches. I think in this game, they're going to have some things that go their way. They're going to put some pressure on us. And I want to see how we're going to answer it. And I think that's the thing that I've been really thrilled with this team up to this point, is their answer has always been really, really good. And so that's what you need in the SEC is just like, okay, you're gonna throw punches, and hopefully we throw a bigger one, and just stay resilient and stay connected and fight through this thing together. So that's what I'm hoping to see through the end, and a few tallies in the win column would be nice too.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, I'm curious, what's it like being in the dugout as a perfect game happens, as you're calling as a pitching coach, versus catching a perfect game, which I'm sure you did throughout at some point in your career?
Well, good question. I don't know. When you're out there catching, you just feel like have a little bit more control in the situation, obviously. So you feel like you're in it. On the outside, it's like you have a hand in it, but not really. It's just like anything you do. It's just like the suggestion, and it's equally exciting, I will say. Because all you ever want to do is have the people around you have success. And so you get to celebrate it either through a catcher, you get to celebrate your pitcher, and through a coach, you get to celebrate them. So I will say that I was talking to Mary after, because she shook the 3-1 pitch of the last batter. I called a curve. She shook it, and I was like, yeah, I know, I want to throw a rise too. And so later I was like, I have to say for the record, I didn't really want you to throw a curve either. I just really wanted her to compete in the zone. And so we talked through that. And so she was just like, well, if I was gonna lose her, I wanted to lose her with my best, so it was just really fun. I don't know. It's fun both ways.
That's pretty funny. What crossed your mind once that last out was made?
I think just really proud of Mary and really happy for her. And that's really it. I don't want to say that relief, but that it's building, and that it's there. And so you do have a little of that sense as the coach being on the side, just wanting it so badly. And so when it happens, you're just like, you just take a breath and get to soak up the moment of her, just having the team mob her and just getting to celebrate that.
Obviously, as you get set to play Tennessee, they got Chris Malvo now on their staff. How much does that adjust your scouting of them with his approach now implemented in their system? Does that affect how you scout their players at all?
It does. But we really are just focusing on watching as much film as we can from this year, and not really focusing on what they did before that. Just obviously with that, a lot of the same players, but a different approach. And Chris always has his team swinging really well. And so just really focusing on what they look like in this season and how we would attack them.
What stood out from them watching them on tape?
Well, the biggest thing I think this year is that they just, I think Tennessee's always been known for their slapping, for their speed, for creating havoc and having a little bit more of that throughout their lineup. And this year seems like they're a team that just stands there and slugs it, as a lot of Chris's offenses do. So that's the biggest thing that has stood out to us.
Do you check your weathers now out of habit just because of everything you've gone through?
Yeah, it's following us. It seems to be going everywhere we are. Yeah, we've checked it. We're supposed to have some rain tomorrow, but hopefully we'll be on the backside of it. We're traveling tomorrow, so there's not too much flexibility with that. We travel day of, but I think we'll be fine.
Have you ever gone
compared to some of the other stuff we've gone through? So
I was gonna say, have you ever gone through this? Like normally every team goes through some weather issues, but it seems like you're right. Like every week you've had some sort of weather interrupt. It's kind of like I don't know. Do you know how you're gonna act when you actually have a weekend where maybe you have 3 good weather days in a row?
I don't know. No, I won't actually. I won't know how to act. The most aggravating thing is that every one of those weekends we had beautiful weather leading up to it and beautiful weather just on the backside of it. So that's the aggravating thing. But yeah, I don't know if we'd know what to do if we didn't have some kind of weather to think about and adjust to. And I don't know, just makes us a little bit more flexible. We're fine.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Do you have any final questions for Coach?